Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Frank, the co-founder and CEO at Salesforge. Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going? Frank here from Salesforge.
Nice to meet you. Please tell us what is Salesforge.
Yeah, so Salesforge is a cold email outreach software that allows you to programmatically scale cold email outreach. So instead of essentially sending templates out there, you're able to send unique emails at scale. The way that we do that is through AI, where we morph sort of two data sets. One is the buy data, so about prospective buyers that you're potentially going after. So that's where we fetch sort of in real time publicly available information, such as, let's say, LinkedIn. And then the seller data as well. So this is where you fill out a bit of information about yourself in the app. And by morphing these sort of two data sets allows us to craft unique sort of emails or sequences at scale.
That sounds really good. What would you say is the biggest problem that you solve for customers?
The biggest problem, well, I think, so I have been myself as a VP sales previously in the last year in the company where I observed with a team of 50, we were sending a lot of cold email templates. And that's because, we had to do things at scale. And if we wanted to do something more personalized, we couldn't automate that by any means. So that's where I saw the, the struggle with my own team back then last year, and also the struggle across the rest of the companies. And I thought there has to be a better way to do things going forward. So this is why I built Salesforge. So I would say the biggest pain is really being able to drive a huge volume of emails, but instead of sending those templates, you would send unique emails. And that also means that you don't also have to hire that many sales reps, because you could do that literally with a single sales rep, sending thousands of highly personalized emails every single day.
Okay, and I guess the launch of ChatGPT helped you a lot in creating the product.
Yeah, so to be honest, what we came up with our idea prior to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT had two, let's say, outcomes. One is the user base became very aware how, the technology can help them to personalize the emails, but also it has spurred also a lot of competitors in the space at the same time as well, because they also became aware that, with ChatGPT that you can write significantly better emails. But I think it's overall better for the industry because really what we're doing, and I think a lot of players in the space are doing, they're fighting templates. And I think that's good for everybody because ultimately, if you think about it, what lands in your sort of inbox today, it's a bunch of cold email templates, and users just have fatigue looking at those templates. So hence, very low reply rates right now these days. And also because you're sending actually templates, it's not really good for your email deliverability because sending static content at scale from the eyes of Google, Microsoft is not good. It would classify you instantly, essentially, as a cold email outreach tool. So the best way to go about your email deliverability is sending unique content at scale. So it's actually really good on that front as well. But yeah, I think the major pain, also because we're in a downturn, it's not anymore about growth at all costs. It's about profitable, efficient growth these days. And companies are struggling to find ways on how to achieve that. And actually, Salesforge would be actually one of the ways that could actually become significantly more lean, profitable, and still scale their business.
And who is your target audience? Who are you selling to?
So currently we're selling to sales organizations, I would say up to 100 employees. And then we're also selling to lead generation agencies as well. But, we sell all the way starting from, really founders, that have just started their companies that have maybe potentially shipped an MVP or just shipped a beta product. And they're trying to figure out a way, how can they scale very fast. So there's actually only another alternative how you can scale very fast, and that's giving millions of dollars to Google and Facebook ads. That's also a very quick way to scale. However, it's a very inefficient way to scale because you're participating in an ad auction where you're competing against bunch of other sort of softwares or potentially any other products really out there. Whereas when it comes to cold email outreach, you can specifically target the people that you want to go after. And then you're fighting essentially against templates in our case, right? We're fighting against templates. So, and if you think about it, when you then crunch some numbers, financial numbers, you'll definitely see that cold email is the most profitable channel, a lot more profitable than any other even cold email channel. Because let's say, when you think about, let's say, cold calling as well, cold calling works fantastically still today as well. But the dilemma with cold calling is that you have to hire a lot of people to do the calls. And bots will never replace people on cold calling, so you will still need to hire people. However, you can replace people when it comes to cold email. And then the only other channel that's, allows you to scale efficiently is LinkedIn. But the problem with LinkedIn is LinkedIn doesn't scale. LinkedIn will never allow you to scale because LinkedIn is not designed to automate and scale, generally speaking. It's designed to build your network, etc. So, yeah, and I think, the only two really scalable channels in the long term on outbound will be cold email and cold calling, whether that's using something like a power dialer or even a parallel dialer.
Thank you so much for sharing. You explained them really well. And what would you say are the best features of Salesforge?
I think the features that everybody's sort of raving about is being able to connect multiple inboxes into the software, where we don't charge for every single inbox. So most of the competitors out there, they charge for every single mailbox that's being connected. And that's not very cost effective. So because you're able to connect a limited number of inboxes, that allows you to scale and still stay out of spam. Then we also have natively built-in warm-up capability, and then naturally the AI part. Because there's really three main challenges in cold email. Number one is assembling the list. So we don't provide any data. So this is where folks usually go to, like data vendors like Apollo as an example. They get the data there. Challenge number two is how do you scale and stay out of spam and not hire a bunch of people? So we solve that fully in the software. And then number three is the copy. So this is where we fight against the templates. And this is where we essentially assemble unique emails at scale. So we do that really well as well.
You created a great image of Salesforge. I really like how you put it. I love to hear your favorite success story of a happy customer.
Success story about a happy customer. I mean, I guess every customer is successful where they're seeing a relative lift to how they were doing things previously. And not just that, but also that they were able to save money also by transitioning to a tool like Salesforge. So for me, a happy customer is a customer that has saved money, and a happy customer that has made significantly more money with this new sort of type of software. And I think we do really well, specifically in the also marketing agency space. So there are, let's say, there's this one example. There's a PR agency, which was one of our first clients, based in the US.
Okay.
A specific person named Jenny. She has started. She needed to find a way to scale through cold email outreach. The only way that was possible to do that is going through some sort of a vendor. So she did go through a specific person that would enable her to scale. However, she did not see any results with that sort of partnership. And then when she saw the ability to be able to run her cold email outreach through a software like Salesforge, which is a very simple software, to be honest, she's currently doing that herself. So she doesn't actually outsource that. So I think that's success to me, that a company does not have to anymore outsource also cold email outreach to anybody else, and that they're able to manage that all in-house as well. So that's to me, a success, because cold email is very difficult as an area, and the problem is that a lot of softwares are not simple. They're not built, with a very simple sort of UI UX, and this is also something that we have to take into account.
Awesome. And what is the pricing for your tool? You mentioned it a couple of times.
We have only two sort of base plans. One is the $48 plan, and the second one is $96 plan, though majority of clients are on the $96 plan. Reason being is we give 10x more value or credits on the upper plan. So it's kind of no-brainer that most of the people pay us essentially $96 right now per month.
And please tell us more about the competitiveness of the email marketing space and how you plan to differentiate.
Yeah, it's a very crowded space. So there's plenty of solutions out there. If you just search for cold email outreach tools, there's a bunch of them. However, most of them charge, like I mentioned, for every single inbox. So there are competitors like, for example, most known probably would be like the companies like Lemlist, Outreach, SalesLoft. So all of them charge for a per seat or essentially per inbox, which is not very efficient when you have to really scale. So that's where we compete really well on that front. But also we compete also with tools that, help you also write better emails. But these tools do it sort of one by one. Whereas we can literally with a single click of a button, we can personalize any volume of leads. And that's like super powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. When did you start the company?
Really, I got together with my co-founders in January this year through Y Combinator, a matchmaking platform. This is when we started really working on this. We shipped our MVP back in March, and then we launched our product sort of a couple months ago. But really started to take first payments really a month ago. We're doing right now. We currently have over 100 companies already actually on the platform.
And did you also attend the YC program?
Yeah, so we applied to Y Combinator literally recently, a couple weeks ago actually. And we just saw an article last week that they are looking at inviting some AI startups in particular to the Y Combinator for early interviews. It should be happening this week, but we have not yet gotten. I don't know why. Sorry, man. So
No,
it doesn't like the camera.
Why?
So it's okay if I start again?
Stop recording or? Yeah, sure,
no,
please.
it said so there's some issues with the camera. I don't know why. Anyway, let me start again. So with the Y Combinator, we started our applications a couple of weeks ago. We completed literally in a single day because it's our second application to YC. Last week we saw actually an article by Y Combinator that they will do some early interviews this week. Though we have not yet received an email whether we will be invited for those early interviews or not. But we definitely are looking to raise a round. We're currently raising a $500,000. And this is actually what YC is also giving, $500,000 for all the startups out there. And naturally, all the brand awareness, etc., it will definitely help you to get far. It's not going to kill your startup like instantly. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. So,
and I guess you're the non-technical founder.
Yeah, I'm the non-technical founder. Yeah, so I met my two co-founders on Y Combinator matchmaking platform earlier this year in January. So they know each other from the first grade. They went to the same university as well, actually in Denmark, and then they came back home. They built a few apps, but nothing really took off. So they really knew that they do need a commercial co-founder. So there it was, with a great idea. And also domain expertise in the area of sales, the fact that I've been over a decade in B2B sales. So it was kind of no-brainer that, this could potentially be something really big. And with our traction, having over 100 companies already on the platform after a couple of months, it just shows there's something in it. And we're just kind of plowing through, being bootstrapped and still trying to raise.
That's a great story. How did you find your first customers?
The first customer actually, our first customers actually were the ones that paid for the platform. So as a prepaid pre-order without us actually having written a single line of code.
Okay.
Those folks actually we found through my network actually, a couple of them. One guy we actually just sold sort of randomly in a coffee shop. So I was talking to another person about Salesforge and what Salesforge does. And then what happened was another person in a coffee shop overheard actually what we were up to, and was like, "Wow, this is amazing what you're doing, guys. Where can I pre-order?" And then the guy went immediately to our website and pre-ordered the product. Interestingly enough, that person was not even a salesperson. It was a CTO of another company. But once he heard this sort of mammoth undertaking that we're looking to kind of develop and take on board, he just wanted to pay immediately, for the product. So this was, kind of sign that even random people that you meet, it was not meant to be. We were not meant to meet him, but random people, essentially, even in a coffee shop, would actually pay for a product, even with having written a single line of code.
That's awesome. And did you quit your last job just to start this company, or what? No,
actually, so I quit my last job last year, not to start a startup actually, but so I was, thinking to myself, hey, should I become a head of sales for another company? And funny enough, I did have a provisional already offer in place to start the company. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'm already 34. Back then I was 33, but maybe I should start a company of my own. And I thought, when would I do that? When I'm going to be 40, or no, now should be maybe is a good moment, especially because we were going into a downturn, potentially a recession, etc. And I thought to myself, some of the best companies in the world, such as for example Airbnb, etc., have been built during a downturn, right? So,
Yes.
and I thought maybe now is probably it's a good time to build something. There's a fly flying around here. Probably listening in to the podcast. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, and yeah, I thought startup probably would be a good time right now, being very free myself. Yeah.
What would you say was your biggest challenge since quitting the job?
Biggest challenge since quitting the job? Well, I think, because I'm a first-time founder, I've never founded a company. The biggest challenge is to try and fail as fast as you can. Learn from your failures and then kind of, plow through more and more failures, and then eventually succeed. But being persistent and having the conviction that what you're building is what people need, is what gives you that energy. And the fact that, people pay you for your product, even, without having written a single line of code gives you a lot of energy, kind of, wanting to build this and wanting to make this a reality. But also, being able to get clients, after, we have shipped our product from places, from using my own network, from various Slack communities, WhatsApp groups, using our own product to naturally scale as well, which is our main kind of channel of acquisition. It gives you a lot of energy to kind of keep on going, really.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And what is the main vision for Salesforge? How do you see it in a few years? So,
naturally, because of a very competitive landscape, we want to morph more and more into a data company, actually. So we want to build out a sort of what we call like a data lake, where we would essentially cluster companies that exhibit similar traits and then run machine learning models and generative AI models actually against those clusters. So we want companies to come to us for our data capabilities more so than our sort of sales execution capabilities, because a lot of companies out there can send a bunch of emails or do cold calls, etc. But what will make you succeed in a few years' time will be the companies that drive the highest conversion rates in the space. And in order to be able to do that, you need a lot of data behind that, right? And be able to decision in real time some of the activities in sales, for example, when emails should be sent, which time of the day or day of the week, or during the whole year even, so to have the highest possible sales results, because it's not going to be good enough anymore just scaling the number of emails. It will be about more and more about driving the best possible conversion in sales, because most companies don't have necessarily a unlimited sort of TAM. So, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And I'd love to hear how you started your career, basically, after college.
Sure. So, I finished my university in the UK, University of Bristol, where I actually studied international security, all about politics, war, you name it, anything about it. My thesis was about drone warfare in Middle East. And after that, I thought to myself that I will work in sort of NATO, European Commission, etc. And I did actually work for European Commission for a few months. But then I realized very quickly that the public sector wasn't for me. So I actually started my real career actually by working in Google. And this is where it was for me like a digital academy. I picked up the kind of the main skills, how to run teams, et cetera, et cetera. And then I transitioned after that to work for various sort of software companies, whether that's in customer success, so for companies, let's say like Similarweb, and then over to sales later down the road, and then leading large sales teams last year as well. And yeah, I was always in tech, always in software. I also, sold machine learning products also in the past as well, for a company in Europe called BlackRow. And this is also partially where the idea came to replicate what works in the world of marketing technology, from a standpoint of, how to apply AI in MarTech, which is relatively simple in comparison to sales, I would argue, and bringing essentially what works in marketing over to sales. And the problem with sales is actually there's just not enough structured and labeled sort of data sets where these data sets are uniform across, many other companies. And this is where, I took on this challenge to build Salesforge with the premise of, giving every single company the highest probability to hit their target with the least number of reps. That's literally the vision that we have for Salesforge.
Fantastic. And as a first-time founder, I'd love to hear your biggest learning that you can share with other starting founders.
The biggest learning, I think it's going to sound a bit cheesy, but, never give up. Because, earlier this year, I was in a pre-seed accelerator called Antler. It's a global pre-seed accelerator. It exists in the US, Europe, also Asia Pacific, where I went and I met sort of, 40 to 50 founders. And you can get demotivated very quickly in the early days. And I think what is very hard is kind of just keep on plowing and still, having that motivation day in and day out. That's very difficult. So you need to figure out what really kind of gets you pumped really every day to sort of wake up, open your laptop and keep working on your bootstrap business, being very poor. And so that's, super important. That motivation has to come from somewhere. And I really enjoy building a good product for fellow salespeople out there. And I know it will make a difference for them. And that conviction for the product and what is that you're building and where you headed just gives you more energy. And that's something really hard to attain being, first-time founder. So I did see a lot of people losing motivation for what is it that they were thinking to build. So it's really important these days. But, the fact that I'm in sales and get, generally speaking, 9 out of 10 rejections every single day, just like most salespeople do, I'm kind of used to kind of rejection, used to failure, and it just kind of bodes well, I think. So I do believe a lot of salespeople out there that can be a great startup founders because they are very resilient.
Yes.
Right. And that resilience helps you actually when it comes to starting your own company.
I really like your answer. Fantastic. I have one last question. I really enjoyed our conversation so far. What's your favorite SaaS product that you use apart from Salesforge?
I think my favorite SaaS product, because I spend there every single day, is Slack. I use Slack for everything. It helps you to run your business very efficiently. People don't leverage Slack enough, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the experience of seeing how you can leverage Slack to the max. But it's like your command center, right? So you can see whether your business is running well or not, all out of Slack, literally. And that's like really powerful. And many companies don't leverage even Slack. They don't even think about Slack. So a founder yesterday told me, "Hey Frank, I think Slack is just for developers." Like, no, not really. I think that's my favorite tool because it gives you control over sort of running your business.
Is there anything else that you want to mention on today's podcast?
Really was great chatting with you, man. Just kind of recap. Salesforge allows you to really send a bunch of cold emails out there, being personalized instead of using it as a template. If you do want to find me on anywhere on the web, probably the easiest way to find me would be on LinkedIn. Just search for Frank Sondors, or just go to salesforge.ai. I usually spend most of my time in Intercom, which is the chat, which is down there. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining.